Hello friends, welcome to video number 24 or question number 24 of the DSA practice group. Right, in this question we are going to deal with question number 24 of the practice or question number 1 of strings. Okay, before we jump on to this question of jewels and stones, let me describe you a certain thing about the DSA practice. You must be seeing a link below for the DSA practice. Okay, this is basically a group where I have added students who want to master data structures and algorithms so that they can earn a package of 12 to 30 lakhs INR per annum if they're working in India, or maybe 100k US dollars or more if they're working outside. Right, so these are the skills, data structures and algorithms are the skills which all tech giants like Microsoft, Amazon and also high paying product based startups are doing, right, are looking for software engineers for, right, they are looking for the skill of data structure and algorithms, right. So if you are someone who wants to move from that state of someone who is earning a very low package, right, or someone who is very low in confidence, right, or someone who wants to live a really rich life so that they can contribute towards other people by making a lot of money, right, this is a thing for you. Click on the link and join in. Right, in this group I regularly post questions where the students can do by themselves. They generally take around 24 hours to try it by themselves. If they get stuck somewhere, right, if there are certain doubts, they message me and I help them. Right, and further, if they are not able to do it by 24 hours, they can always watch the solution videos just like this, and they can then just do it the solution by themselves. Right, I always urge students not to just copy the solution but try to think behind how I'm solving it so that they can develop that thinking pattern. Right, and obviously if you're not able to do it within 24 hours, it is all right to look at the solution and do it. Right, because you have to move ahead. You cannot just learn all by yourself, right. Like for example, you're just sitting and somewhere a new idea will come and you will be able to do the problem. No, that's not how learning happens. Learning happens in this way, that you are doing something, you read on something, you look some other people doing certain things, all these things being put together, and you work hard on that and you come up with a new solution. Right, so it is important that if you're not able to do the problem by yourself, watch the video and learn from it, and don't just copy it. Learn from it. How do I think, how do I do the problem solving? Right, so let me introduce you about myself also. My name is Akshaya. I'm from IIT Delhi, BTech computer science graduate, and I have worked at companies like Amazon and Paytm as software engineer and senior software engineer, and I've trained a lot of students. Right, and many of them are working at very good packages at companies like Microsoft, Paytm, so on and so forth. Right, so click on the link and join in the group, because that's for the essay practice, and you definitely deserve to learn those skills which can help you be secure in your career forever. Right, because see, we know there are different kind of technologies which are there. Right, the technologies keep changing, the languages keep changing, but there's something which will always remain the same. Right, and that is data structure algorithm concepts. And once you master those, no matter what technology your company is working, no matter what the company in which you are applying is actually working upon, right, they will always hire you on the basis of your problem solving skills, and that's tested through the basis of data structure algorithm. Right, so that's why click on the link and join in. Okay, so the question that we are going to deal with this in this video is actually fairly simple, and I will share the solution also with you. Right, and I will also try to embed a lot of interview tips, right, a lot of insights, a lot of small hacks which you must note down in your copy. Right, so please bring down your copy and note them down. Right, and keep and try to make one page notes, because these are going to be useful in when you try to solve the problems. Right, so even if you know the solution to the problem, or if you have done the problem by yourself, watch the video to completion, because it's going to inspire you, it is going to trigger your thinking, and it will ensure that you are on track of the data structure algorithm mastery. Right, great. So let's try and understand this question number 24, jewels and stones. Okay, you're given strings j representing the type of stones that are jewels. Right, and you're given s representing the stones you have. Right, so maybe you can read this again. Basically you are given two strings j and s. The j is representing the type of stones that are jewels. right? The type of stones which are jewels. So probably J is a subset of all the stones, and it represents which of them are jewels, and S represents the stones you have, right? And S is also the subset of all the stones. It just refers to certain stones that you have. Okay, as we will discuss the problem, you will get better understanding, right? And some of you may be very anxious and impatient. You may just want to jump onto the solution. But I would urge you spend a good amount of time in trying to understand the problem. Because one, this will build you the habit of being able to understand the problem always. Because if you don't do that, in the actual coding interview or the online coding round, what will happen is you because of lack of habit, you will jump onto solving the problem directly, and as a result you will get the wrong answer, right? Because the second thing is, you must spend a lot of time in trying to understand the problem, because if you understand the problem, 50% of the work is done. Once you understand the problem, the solution appears in front of your eyes, right? So spend a good amount of time just understanding the problem, and then spend just some amount of time in writing the solution. Because once you have understood the problem, once you have come across all the constraints which are given in the problem, the solution becomes quite obvious, right? For example, let's say you are going in a maze, right? Or maybe you're going on a road and there are maybe 10 forks in the road. There are different 10 direction in which you can go, right? Now if I ask you in which direction, what is the correct direction, you may not have the answer. But if I explain to you where exactly you have to go, for example, I may tell you, I want to go on the path which has maybe petrol being delivered in within 2 kilometers, right? Because of that, out of the 10 roads, maybe 5 of them get evicted out and only 5 are left. Then I say I want to go on a way which is what can we say, maybe which is which is not traveled so much, because I want to spend a good quality time as I drive by myself. I don't want to see much traffic. Because of this, maybe another 3 paths get crossed out, right? So now it becomes much more easier to choose, right? And all this has happened because of understanding of the problem. When you understand the problem, a lot of constraints come in, and because of that, a lot of if and else is formed, which is able to help you narrow down to the solution, right? So always spend a good amount of time trying to understand. Okay, so I will explain this problem also with the help of an example. Let's for the time being move on. Each character in S is a type of a stone you have. Great. So the question said the given strings J represent the type of stones and S represent the stones you have. Now, how does it represent, right? It can represent in any way. For example, the string S may contain the word maybe diamond, maybe ruby, right? Maybe gold as a string, right? Then diamond DIAMOND. It may represent in that way, but but that will be an assumption. So read the question and understand how is it actually representing something. So the question tells us each character in S is a type of stone you have. Okay, one thing. Some of you might be in the case that you want to just directly jump onto the solution, right? And you might be thinking that I'm taking a lot of time in trying to explain a lot of things, simplify a lot of things. So let me tell this thing to you straight, right? If you want to master the data structures and algorithms for interview cracking, your aim is not to solve the question. When you're practicing, your aim is not to solve the question. Your aim is not to solve thousands of questions. Your aim is to develop that one problem solving skill which can help you solve thousands of problems, right? Because in the interview, the interviewer won't ask you how many interview problems have you practiced, right? Or you cannot be sure which question will come in the interview, but you can be sure that what kind of skill will be tested in the interview, and that skill is the skill of problem solving. So focus on learning that problem solving skill. Use this problem, this one, or maybe any other problem, to develop your thinking mind, right? Be aware of your mistakes, be aware of your problems and thinking patterns, be aware of what you don't know, and use these problems to guide you in the direction about what you need to master and then do that, right? So similarly, the purpose of these videos is not just to give you the solution, it is to give you a holistic development in a way that you understand what problem solving is and develop that thinking ability, right? Even if you've watched one of these videos perfectly and follow the instructions completely, even that will put you ahead of maybe 90% of the other population, right? Just focus on doing one thing right and everything else will fix by itself. Okay, so each character, so that's why I'm going to take a lot of time, and I'm sure a lot of you, only a few of you would be able to watch the video fully, but if you do that, give a tap on the back and congratulate yourself that you have that virtue of patience, right? You have developed that patience to be able to solve the problems in a way which helps you develop that problem solving, right? Maybe watch the video also again, maybe skip the video also to the solution, but focus on each and everything I'm saying. Great. Each character in S is a type of stone you have, right? You want to know how many of the stones you have are also jewels, right? Great. So the question has clarified how it represents, how the string J represents the type of stones that are jewels, how S represents the stones you have. So basically in jewel string there are going to be a lot of characters, and each character which is present inside this jewel represents a jewel. For example, X might be there, maybe A is there, B is there, right? And let's say in your stones S, some characters might be there, for example X, another might be D, right? So X is also present in J. So this means this type of stone which you have is a jewel. Then you have D in your stones, but D is not present in J. So D is not a jewel, right? Something like that. Great. The letters in J are guaranteed, distinct, and all characters in J and S are letters. Great. So all the characters in J and S are letters. This is a very useful information which many students are going to miss, right? You can do the problem even if you miss this information that all characters in JNS are letters. Even without this information you can do this problem, but if you know this, you can come across even better solution, right? Like, or like some of you have already shared in the data structure practice group, right? When I ask you certain questions, you were able to come across that solution, right? But you still need to work on the time complexity of that, so do that, right? You understand who I'm talking to. And rest of you can think of the way of how to do it. Probably in the end of the video I will share insights on how you can do this problem better, so make sure you attend the video towards the end, because in between I'm going to deliver a lot of golden nuggets. Okay, all the characters are letters. Letters are case sensitive, so small a is considered a different type of stone than A. Okay, so let me help you understand this problem from different point of view also. Okay, as I always say. But before that, let's see the examples. So example J is equal to A. So basically small a as well as capital A represents a jewel. And the string that you have is this, right? So these three are basically jewels, right? Because these characters are present in this. That's why the answer is 3. Similarly, if you see over here that this Z is small z is jewel, but our string is capital ZZ, so no jewel, so the answer is 0. Okay, let me just explain this problem with the help of another example, with the help of a diagram. Okay, so let's say this consists of all the stones, right? This consists of all the kind of stones which are present. Okay, now inside this we have the jewel string. We have the jewel string. Okay, and then we have another one which is a stone string. maybe this stone string is this size big. Okay, who knows? This is a stone string. So what you have to do is you have to count how many strings of s come in this part. Okay, but there's only a very small difference, that this Venn diagram would be considering only unique stones, right? But our question says that only jewels are unique, s can repeat, right? For example, in the question you saw that a came twice, right? So this Venn diagram doesn't consider that, it just looks for only unique values. But I just shared this with you because this is going to be useful in solving other problems, in being able to think of them. Okay, great. So now when I've shared this, let's work on the problem solving part of this, right? So remember, I always share this with you, that always try to do a problem in a way by taking examples and by seeing how as a human you will do that, right? Then break it down into steps and see how a computer does that. Write that steps down, becomes a pseudocode, and then you can just directly convert the pseudocode into actual code. Okay, so let's see how we will do. So as a human, I could directly see that these first three characters are present in this, right? And that's why I written answer 3. But let's break it down. I didn't just jump onto these, or a computer might not be able to have visual memory and jump onto all these three together. How the computer, or how I did was, I first read this small letter A. When I read the small letter A, I knew that this is present in the jewel string. But how did I know that? Because this small a, capital A, was inside my mind, I could tell that this thing was already there in this, right? So what was the algorithm that I used? What did I actually do over here? The actual thing I did over here is I read the first character from the stone string, then I went to my mind and see whether this character is present in the jewel string. If there is, maintain a count of 1, right? Similarly, next I went to the next letter and went to my mind and see if capital A is present in the jewel string. If yes, I increase the count. Similarly, I went on, right? Now let's break it down even further. Let's simplify even further. So when I say I go inside my mind and check whether small a or capital A is part of the jewel string, what do I actually do? I go into my memory and I go across the different values which are stored inside J. Right? It may seem very intuitive right now. You may not understand how you're going into the memory, but it's something like this only which I'm going to share, right? So let's forget that we have any memory, right? Let's say this screen is the only memory that we have. So when we come across a letter in stones, let's say S equal to A, small a, then we will come to J, we will check whether the first character is same as small a, which is there, right? So the count becomes 1, right? Next we come across the next character, capital A, right? And again, we come to this J, we check first character, this doesn't matches, no worries. Then we go to the next character, this matches, right? So another jewel, so we will increase the count again, right? Then this one, again it will match this one, so we will increase the count again, so the count has become 3. Next we move to the next character, which is small b. Next we move to this next character, which is small b. Then we come to J string, we check first character whether small a is equal to small b, no it is not. Then we move to the next character, which is not, and then we reach the end of the string. So we know small b is definitely not inside this, so the count will remain same and we will move ahead, right? So I believe that you kind of understand the pseudocode that we have, right? So let me write down the code also. Let me write down the pseudocode also, okay? So what we are basically doing is, for each character, what we are basically doing is, for each character, C in our stones, for each character C in stones, check if C matches any character, maybe X in J. if matches count plus plus, else move to next character, else do nothing, else nothing, and then move to next character, right? And we will be having a count as 0 also initialized, right? Simple as that. That's exactly what we are doing. We are doing for each character C and S, check if C matches any character X and J, all the characters X and J, and that matches count plus plus, else nothing, move to the next character. Okay, so if we have this approach, let's try and identify the time and space complexity for this also. Okay, so for each character C in S, so this loop is going to run for all the characters in S, right? So let's say the number of characters in S is n, right? So this one, the order of this would be size of S, right? Whatever the number of characters in S, this will be there, right? And then we have to match. And 1 second, so can we improve upon this in any way? No, we will have to consider each of the characters in S, right? So we cannot improve upon this, so this will be there, and let that be probably, let's say, n, right? Now let's come to this, check if C matches any character X and J. So we will have to match C with all the characters X and J, right? So because of this, the order of this would be order size of J, let that be M, right? And inside this, these operations are order 1, right? So because of this, total time complexity, because of this, the total time complexity that we are having becomes n star m. Great. But can we improve upon this? See, when we are matching n, we cannot improve upon this because E is a character and S has to be taken care of. But when we are matching C with J, is it necessary to check all the characters of J? See, what we are doing is basically we're checking all the character and seeing whether it is equal to C, right? What if it was possible to check if C is present in J in much lesser time, right? So let me just share with you different insights or different possibilities. One of the possibilities is, say, compute once, save forever. That is, let's say the small character A came in the string S. Okay, so small a is our present string. Now we have the string J, right? We don't know if A is present in J, but what we can do is we can travel the entire J string and see whether A is present or not, right? And because of that maybe order m time will be used, right? Because m is the length of J, so the entire J string will be traversed. Because of that, for finding that one character, order m will be spent, right? Good, that cannot be reduced till now. But what we can do is we can store that A is present in J as a boolean, or maybe as a hash map or a hash set, right? We can store in the hash set that, hey, we got A is present in J, so mark that as true for A, or we can just add A to the hash set indicating that A is present in the string jewels, right? So what will happen is, finding first time, it took order m time, right? And we saved it. Now when A comes again in the string S, we don't have to traverse it again like we did in the first time to get order m. Every other time we will get an order 1 time because we have saved in the hash set that A is already present, right? So that will kind of improve on the time complexity because we don't have to repeat, right? Remember the dynamic programming questions that we have been doing till now, that's the kind of strategy that we use over there. So I just thought about touching upon that again, so that with the help of repetition it becomes a part of your mind. Okay, it registers in your brain. Great. So this approach can be used. Now what we are doing is, whenever we are finding a string in S, a character in S, we are finding it in J, and if we find it, we save the answer in the hash set. What if what if I could improve upon that for even for finding for the first time I don't have to do this. Okay, see, what we have to match the characters in S is with the characters in J, right? And what we have to do is we have to just find whether a given character X is present in J or not, right? That's what we have to do. Take a character from S and find whether that character is present in J. Getting a character from S is order one time, right? Because we are iterating one by one, right? So we are going from index 0 to length minus 1 for string S. So we are getting one character of S in order one time, and for this character we have to check whether this character is present in string J or not. Finding whether a character is present in string J can be reduced, right? How can it be reduced? So there are two ways. One way, I'm going to show the code, okay, that's going to solve the problem, and another approach I'm sharing with you, which is related to the insight which I shared in the beginning of the question, that the number of characters which are given in the which are present in J, the characters which are present in S and J are only literals, right? Small letters or capital letters, something like that. Okay, so I will share that approach, but let me just first share the better approach, or the approach that works for all. The approach is, and I'm sure if you have been following till now all the questions, you would be knowing about this, that we can definitely use a hash set, right? And it's because of the hash set that this problem is so simple that you can probably do it in 5 minutes, right? So if you have been practicing the problems for quite some time, you have been part of the practice group or part of the courses, you must definitely try to do the problem in under 5 minutes, right? You should have been able to do. If you're not, then you definitely need to review certain things, right? And if you're not part of the courses, then you should definitely jump into the course, right? Because that will actually help you understand the basics properly, right? I have that courses with me, you must already be knowing about them, right? So hop in that course and hop into mastery, hop into the model course, right? And understand what are the basics, so that the problems like these can be done in under 5 minutes, so that the bigger problems can be done in an appropriate time which suits the interview or the online coding round. Otherwise a lot of time will be taken and you will end up nowhere. Even when you have solved thousands of problems, you will not be able to crack the interviews, right? Because what matters is the intensity and depth, not the breadth. It doesn't matter how many questions you do, it matters how well you do one question, right? So that's why I will urge you to join the course right now and comment below that you want to join, right? Just join the course right now. And if some of you are not even part of the data structure algorithm mastery practice group, please click on the link and join right now, because you don't want to waste your time, you don't want to keep living the same life. You definitely deserve it, right? Start investing in yourself, and this is going to be the best investment you can do for yourself. Okay, so now let's come back to the headset solution. What you have to basically do is take the string J, and for each character present in string J, put in the headset, right? So what will happen here, when you have put all the characters in J in a hash set, you will be in order one time able to tell whether a given character X is present in J or not, right? And because of this, this second operation, this operation, whether check if C matches any character X and J, instead of running for a time of order m, this will return an order one time. And because of this entire time complexity would be n into, instead of n into m, it will become n into 1, right? So now let's check the solution. I had already prepared the code for you also, and I will just share that with you. Okay, so I have first created the headset of characters, and in this I have added all the characters of j in the headset. Very simple. Int I is equal to 0, I less than j dot length, I plus plus, h dot add j dot caret I, and you will be done, right? If you don't understand headset, then you should definitely look for a documentation of Oracle docs and read about it, right? If you're already part of my model course, you would already known how to look up that, right? So definitely I will again urge, if you're not part of the course, definitely jump in. Great. Then you maintain int count is equal to 0, and then you just come for each character in s, check whether it is present in j or not, right? And then you say for each character I is equal to 0 to length -1, you check if h contains this character, if yes, count plus plus and return count, right? As simple as that. So this approach works fair and void, right? Very good. Now, what is the space complexity of this question, right? The space complexity of this problem is going to be a bit more in comparison to running two for loops. In running the two for loops, we were not creating any kind of extra space. We were having string j, string s, and we were checking, matching each character from s to all the characters in j. So because of that, there was no extra space, and because of that, the space complexity was order 1. But here we are creating a hash set, and how many elements will be there in the hash set? They will be actually the size of j. Because of this, the space complexity of this becomes order m, right? So time complexity is order n plus m, where n is size of string s, and uh, m is the size of j, because we are running two loops. This one has time complexity of order m, this one has order n. So order n plus m is the time complexity, and space complexity becomes order m because of the length of j, right? Great. Now let me make it more interesting. Okay, we can claim that our space complexity is actually order 1 or order constant. Why we can say that is, let's see what it said in the question. Inside the question, it said that the letters in J are guaranteed, distinct, and all characters in J and S are letters, right? Because all the characters are letters, we are sure of the number of characters, right? It's going to be, let's say, only the English letters, 8, small a to capital Z, small a to small z, and capital A to capital Z, let's say. Because of that, there will be only 52 characters. Of course, there will be more literals, but just for simplicity, let's assume there are only 52, right? Because we are aware of what the characters are, our space complexity will be a constant. Why do I say it's a constant? Though there are going to be 52 elements at max in the hash set, that size doesn't explode. That size doesn't explode when you increase the size of s, right? It doesn't increase, and it doesn't also increase with this increase in size of j also, because the size of j is also going to be less than the max size, right? So because of that, you can say your space complexity is also constant or order 1. Okay, in this question it is fine to say that and fine to do that. Okay, so that's why I said this is a very important thing, right? Okay, now coming back, why in this question it is important, it is okay to say that the space complexity is order 1, but why you have to be careful, right? You have to be careful because they can be newer languages in which the number of characters can be infinitely possible, right? There can be no limit on the maximum number of characters, right? And because of that, if you increase the size of that alphabet, that is, instead of just having A to Z, maybe there are alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and so on, and they can go on and on. When the size of the alphabet or the size of J increases, the space complexity also increases, right? So the space complexity is not a constant. So in that case, even when you know that they are going to be only characters, you cannot say that the space complexity is a constant, because there can be a lot of characters, right? So that's what that was just a small caution I wanted to keep you in mind. As the code is in front of you, you will run this code and it will work also. Let me just submit this and show you that this working as well. Okay, so great, this is working and this is quite fast also. Great. So I hope you loved the video, you liked the content of the video, you already click the link and join the group, right? Please drop below the comments, what do you love the most, what are your new insights. Comment below your time that you are going to give 1 hour daily to data structure and algorithm mastery. Comment below what do you love so that I understand what should I include more in the upcoming videos. If you have any doubts also, feel free to comment below, right? Don't forget to subscribe and share the video, and click the link for joining the group if you're not already there. Okay, so bye bye, take care, I will catch you in the next one.